2020 was one of the best investment years ever, despite the economy being quite horrible and despite the data and the numbers being quite horrible. But the investments themselves turned out really well, and some turned out especially well. And in today's brief video, I want to reflect on my top 7 investments. Let's see how many cryptocurrencies were among them. You'll see there'll actually be a couple of other investments that are not crypto. Have a lot of fun in today's video. Hey and welcome to today's video. My name is Julian. On my channel, it's all about making you cryptofit. I discuss the beautiful world of blockchain, decentralization, cryptocurrencies, most of all Bitcoin. And let's see if Bitcoin is actually part of one of those top 7 investments that I had in 2020. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Hey, you might consider subscribing. I talk a lot about these very interesting topics, and especially right now, obviously, great times, and you probably want to be informed. If you're, well, returning, welcome back. Always happy to have you. Hey, and please consider leaving me a like. It really helps the algorithms. So yeah, before we go into those 7 investments, maybe a couple of thoughts. First of all, I don't necessarily want to do year to date. So I don't want to go for, let's say, 1st of January until now, 7th of January. I really want to go from whenever I bought the investment within 2020. So it's not like 1st Jan until the 31st of December. It's really when I bought it. If I was holding the investment already prior, then I go from 1st of Jan until 31st of December. So I think that's the first rule. The second rule is I only want to talk about publicly traded assets. So I don't want to talk about any kind of asset that I personally would only have access to. So let's say if I've done a great startup investment that might have gone 50x, I don't want to kind of consider those. I think that's important. So it should be available to anyone. And yeah, it should be available to anyone. It should be kind of open. So I want to talk about those. And the last rule, I don't want to talk about small investments. So I had a couple of small investments that did like 20, 30x for available for anyone. But the amounts were so small that even though those returns were there, it weren't really significant impact on my net worth. So I really want to talk about those investments that had a significant impact where I was taking sizable bets. And I think that's really, really important in the entire structure here. Yeah, so kind of that's important. I'm going to go from worst to best, and you will also see that already the worst ones are doing quite well. So it's only going to go crazier from here. Investment number 1 that was that did the worst of all the 7 best ones was actually Amazon. It was a stock. I was holding Amazon going into the year, but I bought a lot of Amazon during the crisis, especially in March. And obviously, the company benefited a lot from COVID and what was happening. And as a shareholder, I made over 100% on that from the dip. So that was just insane. Really, really crazy. To me, that's a company, right? Also in 2021, very low downside. Massive upside still. So yeah, quite happy. I've been holding on. It's been fantastic. Investment number 2, and that's not a stock, that's not crypto. That is actually a precious metal, and that was silver. You will see gold didn't make it, but silver did. And so I bought silver. I had a little bit of silver actually going into the year, but I really bought some silver during March, especially, and not necessarily during the dip, but especially when I heard that all the money printing was going to start. And then I was quite sure that a lot of this money will actually find its way into precious metals, into gold, into silver. Now I have way less silver than I have gold, but as a whole, because it went up about 100% for me in 2020, I benefited beautifully from the money printing. So Fed, thanks so much. Investment number 3 is another stock. It's the largest stock listed in the US, and it is Apple. My goodness, did Apple well. I am a person who loves investing into things. Hang on a second, I just need to answer the phone here really quickly. I'm someone who loves investing in stocks that I personally use. So obviously I'm an Amazon user. I love using Apple. So for me, this comes very, very natural And yeah, so I think this has been really, really good. I believe long term in Apple, so I'm gonna keep holding. And yeah, it's been a fantastic ride. So it's been good. On the fourth spot, and that's actually now the very first cryptocurrency, is Ethereum. I'm an Ether holder, and Ether did for me from year to date around 4x, so 400% approximately until the year end, right? So approximately, and maybe a bit more. Again, I'm not pinning down on numbers. Now on ETH, I'm actually making less returns than on Bitcoin that I'm going to be covering actually next. And the very simple reason for that is I didn't buy ETH during the March dip. I bought Bitcoin. And so I'm using a composite here. And that's why for me, Bitcoin outperformed ETH, even though I want to make this clear. If you were just holding Ethereum going into the year, obviously Ethereum would have outperformed Bitcoin. I just want to make this clear. And yeah, so that's a very important one. So that brings me to number 5, and that's actually Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I did a bit over 600%. Insane if you think about it, especially if you compare it to other sizable investments. There's actually only one other investment that had a larger market cap than Bitcoin that actually outperformed Bitcoin. It's going to be the next investment. So yeah, I'm gonna be talking about that in a second. So that's quite exciting. Bitcoin, very large market cap, obviously a larger one than Ethereum, way less downside, and obviously for me it outperformed. But only, I want to make this clear, only because of because I really bought the dip there. I bought it around 4,000. So yeah, it's been a very, 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 very strong kind of ride here. Yeah, again. Insane year. That brings me to investment number 6, and that is not a cryptocurrency. It is actually a stock, and it's a stock that outperformed all the others. And it's actually a large stock. And the only stock that could do this is Tesla. Tesla, I owned quite a lot of Tesla going into the year. I bought way more Tesla during the dip. I would have never imagined Tesla having such a strong year. I was expecting Tesla to have a year similar to Apple or Amazon. I would have literally bought way more had I kind of anticipated what a fantastic year Tesla is gonna have. And also going forward, I'm expecting the stock to do really well. All those things right now, and that's also a key rule. None of these ideas are trading ideas, so these are no ideas where I'm going to go in and out. These are really long-term ideas that I hodl, that I really think are all doing well. So yeah, number 6 here, Tesla, about 800%. Insane to consider, especially a company with like hundreds of billions of dollars market cap. Really unbelievable. Great work by Elon Musk. And yeah. Investment number 7, and that was the best performing asset, at least for me, right? I didn't hold it at the beginning of the year because it didn't exist yet. And that was actually DeFi chain, a DeFi coin that again, here's the key thing. I was making actually 20x, 30x, 40x during the year on some pumps on some of those smaller coins. But again, they were really, really small bets. I want to make this clear. A lot of them in the DeFi space, a lot of trading ideas in and out. So that's why I'm not counting them here. DeFi chain, DFI, I put in quite a significant amount. I shared this, and yeah, it paid off handsomely. I made a bit over 10x as an average going all the way from the beginning till the end. The reason is I kept buying. So yeah, and right now it's at $2, so it's been crazy insane. So yeah, nice returns. As a whole, again, I think in 2020, my entire investment portfolio as a whole went up a bit over 120%, which is ridiculous considering that I was going into the year with solid double-digit millions. It's been one of the best years in my entire life when it comes to finances. And this is now the sad story. The sad story about it is, while the entire world is bleeding. And I'm mentioning this because it should really kind of get you thinking as an investor. I know that so many people point fingers at so many wealthy people out there, but to be honest, at the end, all this is more of a function to what the government is doing. not so much on what wealthy people are doing. And I just want to kind of pinpoint this. And I only expect this in 2021 to keep going. I'm keeping to hodl all those 7 investments, and I'm expecting all those 7 to do well. So yeah, just kind of hope this gets you thinking a bit and reflecting a bit. Yeah, what all this money printing basically does and is doing. So yeah, obviously, always a lot of luck, a lot of good timing, combined with some good decision making. And so yeah, the investment universe was quite kind, I think, to most investors in 2020. And so yeah, but I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration. I made another video already on the channel where I talk about my top investments that I'm expecting for 2021. Let's see how those turn out. And yeah, so with this, hope you're having fun. Hope you're getting value out of this. So even if this is your first video, consider subscribing. Please leave me a like, give me an upvote, subscribe. Then I'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.